Match week 13.
13.
Off the back of an international break. Get out of here. Yeah, we hate it. We're coming back. Do we also get a pass for international break woes as well? Coming back, talking to the people. Are we going to be a little bit out of form?
We're out of form.
Yeah,
we're rusty. We're rusty.
Yeah. But in all seriousness, fun week last week. Take us away with how it played out in the points, the bold predictions.
Wow. Match week 13,
Yep.
or we're match week 12,
right.
Throwing it back. Score update. Brock takes me down 7-5 on the back end of a bold 1-1 Brighton Sheffield United prediction. Gets the 2 points. That ends up being the difference in the scores. And you extend your lead to 7 points. You got a 7-point cushion, 86-79 now.
Yeah. And it's those kind of picks that make this so fun, where you just put it all on the line, and when it pays off, man, it feels so good.
And I was sitting there being like, I think we even talked about it after filming.
I was like, what a donut.
You're like, I don't even know. I don't know how that came out, and it comes good.
Gotta trust the vibes. It
comes good.
Yep.
Vibes come good, and so we have another fun week of predictions for you. So let's just get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it.
What
a way to come back as well. It's our
first game back from the international break.
Game of the week.
And we build predictions. Game of the week. What is it?
City at the Etihad against Liverpool.
Oh my days.
This one's going to be
One
so
versus
much fun.
two. It feels like it did a couple seasons ago, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It kind of
in
does.
the same way that it also doesn't really. Like, you look at this Liverpool side, like obviously last season kind of a drop in form. This season, we've talked about it on this podcast. They've flown under the radar, and all of a sudden we get to match week 13, and City's playing Liverpool 1 versus 2, and you're like, wait a second, what? They're back.
They're back.
Are Liverpool back?
And the crazy part about this is there's only 3 points that separate the top 5.
I know. Yeah.
And we didn't think. I mean, beginning of the season, I know we're only almost a third through the season.
Yeah.
But most people thought City were going to run away with it.
Absolutely.
And so having 4 teams that are just right there,
Yeah.
I know it's early in the season, but it's been tons of fun.
Yeah, it's been a bit of fun.
Liverpool, this is their chance to make a statement that they're back, isn't it?
And off the back of the international break, we see Haaland pick up a knock. He's missing a fixture. Is he going to be back? Is he going to be informed? Does Pep even throw him out there?
Yeah.
A lot of things to consider, but knowing this, it's my duty to
you
pick
get to go first this week for the game of the week.
For me, it is a 2-1 victory for City.
Wow.
If Liverpool is at home, I think I maybe back them to do something special. I think this is going to be a really tough game. We haven't seen City like we remember the Chelsea game. Like, I think Chelsea was the better side. So it leaves you like, what's going on? 2-1 City.
2-1 City.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for it. 2-2 draw. 2-2 draw. I'm going to back Liverpool to get something out of this game. Even last year when they weren't at the level that we expect Liverpool to be at, they show up for the big games. Yeah. They show up for the big games.
They do.
And so Salah's been in remarkable form so far this season. Again, like you said, under the radar.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, he's picking up Player of the Month awards, and no one's talking about Liverpool. This is their chance. I think they'll get a point at the Etihad. 2-2.
I want to note this just before we move on really quick. The thing that kept me from choosing Liverpool to do this is it's a very rotated squad. Like this is not the likes that was competing for the Champions League final. Obviously they have some of those pieces, but you still got a really young core now. Are they up for these moments?
Yeah.
I think it's something to consider, but with that being said, we can move to the next game.
Yeah, and again, this is the game. We want to see your predictions in the comment. It's our game of the week, and so we want to see your predictions. What do you think is going to happen in this showdown between the first and the second teams in the table at this point in time?
Yep.
And so let's go ahead and bring that to Burnley-Westham. Burnley have lost a lot of games.
Yeah.
I think of their last 5, they've lost all 5.
Okay.
And West Ham has had a fast start to the season, if you remember, but they're starting to peter out.
Yeah.
In the signs of Europe, and the weight of that and the mass congestion is starting to show as well.
Yeah.
And so, an interesting game. What do you see happening in this one?
I see it being a pretty comfortable win for West Ham. I think West Ham gets it done here. I think they win it 2-1. So the scoreline maybe doesn't look comfortable, but I think the way things play out, we see a comfortable win for West Ham 2-1.
2-1. And I'll just go 2-0.
Okay.
2-0, West Ham. Take us to the next one.
This is Luton Town at home against Palace. I don't know. These you look at these kind of fixtures and you're like, I don't know if I can make an informed decision. So I just have to go vibes.
Vibes. Do it.
So I want to hear what your vibes are.
And it's hard because it's at Luton. Like, that's where it gets difficult.
Factors in.
But the thing that you have to understand is Elise and Eze are back for Crystal Palace. Watching them, yes, they didn't win the West Ham game, but watching Elise come onto the field and just feeling the vibes of Crystal Palace's home stadium, man, was different. That when those two players are on the pitch, it's special.
Yeah.
And so that being said, that's why I'm going to back Crystal Palace here. I'm going to back them 2-1.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. When I think of a Luton Town home game, I think scrappy, thick grass, Brexit football. It's going to be scrapey. I think the match ends 1-1. Palace draw against Luton Town at home. They love to pick up little draws, don't they?
Especially at home.
Yep.
Especially at home.
Yep.
And so let's go ahead and take it to the next one. Another big fixture. Newcastle versus Chelsea at St. James Park.
Yeah.
It's a big one. What do you see coming into this one?
I think this is a super tough one because we obviously the last time we watched Chelsea play is when they just go and hand it to City. I think they should have won the game. I think City were very fortunate to walk away with anything from that match. But then we look at Newcastle, and they've been a very strong physical side against a young Chelsea side that are they up for this kind of physicality? Like we haven't seen a team like Newcastle since I would even say like the 90s. I wasn't even born then, but like when I think 90s Brexit football, I think Newcastle. Physical, strong, at home. For me, that just shows me every sign that Newcastle's going to go on to win this game. And I think they go on and they win it 2-1.
2-1?
Yeah.
I don't know. I might be leaning the other way here.
Well, then go for it. Lock that in for yourself.
The reason is Chelsea, I mean, they've had the signs. We've talked about it all year. They've had the signs. Weren't picking up good results, right? But they come in, they beat Spurs. Then they get a draw against City. And now they're sitting in a lot different position. There's a lot better atmosphere around them. Despite playing all these good teams, there's a belief, there's an identity, and they're finally finding the system. They're learning the system, right?
Yeah.
And they're getting it. St. James, hard place to play, so that's why I'm going to sit on the fence with 1-1.
1-1. And that's I think that's what it all comes down to is do you believe that St. James Park is a incredibly difficult place to play? I think it really is.
If you get 3 points at St. James,
you're buzzing.
I mean, you're buzzing. Yeah. And so I don't think they'll quite do that, but they'll do enough to get the point.
That takes us to Forest at home against Brighton. The draw merchants, Brighton.
I mean,
are we going to see that trend continue?
I mean, 3 draws in a row. They haven't picked up very many points in the last run of games.
Right.
Forest, we say it every week.
Yeah.
They have an identity. They play the way they play. They're a proper mid-table side.
Yeah.
At home, they're special. On the road, they're tragic. And so they're at home for this one.
Yeah.
And against a Brighton that is struggling, it could be another chance for them to pick up some points.
And we talk about it all the time. These are the kind of sides that seem to fare well against Brighton, right? It's the sides that are going to sit in and they're going to hit you hard on the break.
Yep.
Like everything that I'm looking at here indicates Forest gets something out of this fixture.
Yeah.
But that being said, I think Brighton, after an international break, have the opportunity to come back and get back on track. I think they will.
Okay.
I think Brighton go on to win this game 2-1. I think they come flying out of the gates, maybe get up early. Forest make it uncomfortable, but I still have Brighton taking this game.
Let's keep the differentiating going.
Okay.
Because Forest will get a point at home. 1-1.
1-1 draw.
1-1.
Fair play.
Yeah.
That takes us to Sheffield-Bournemouth. I'm not even going to give backstory to this game. 1-1.
Sheffield-Bournemouth, you don't need anything. Bournemouth coming off of a good win against Newcastle. Sheffield.
Donuts.
Oh my goodness. And what was your prediction again?
1-1.
1-1.
1-1 draw.
Okay, I'm going to go 2-0 Bournemouth.
Whoa.
Yeah, 2-0 Bournemouth. I mean, Solanke.
You're a big Solanke merchant.
I've been a big fan of him. He has the same amount of goals through a third of the season than he did all of last year.
Yeah.
And I think he's a proper footballer.
Back form.
So, 2-0.
Cool. That takes us to Brentford at home against Arsenal. What do you have for us here?
This game is always an interesting one because of how Brentford play against the good teams.
Yeah.
Right. Them and Brighton are kind of that same vibe of the club, where they kind of struggle with those mid-table teams, but they always are up for it against the big teams.
Yeah.
Right. They're always up for it. But Arsenal, a break is kind of what they needed.
Yeah.
And I think they'll be able to respond nicely in this one. I'm going to go 3-1 to the Gunners.
3-1 to the Gunners. Obviously, Raya heads back home on loan. Is he a secret agent? Is he a secret agent?
No, is Ivan Toney about to go to Arsenal?
Yeah. So there's a lot of storylines surrounding this fixture. This is a game that Arsenal has to go away and get a result. I don't think it's going to be easy. We've seen Arsenal concede the fewest amount of goals, but we haven't seen the flying the offensive potency that we saw last year. I think this is one that they're going to have to scrape for. I think set pieces are going to play a huge factor in this game. Away from home, 2-1 Arsenal. They're going to work for it. Maybe some late magic.
There you go.
There we go.
That brings us to the Sunday fixtures. Tottenham, Aston Villa, another top 5 showdown.
Yeah.
Tottenham at home, coming off the worst form of their season so far.
Yeah.
Right. What was that? 2 losses in a row.
Two on the trot. How's their season been derailed? Red cards, injuries.
And that's the story of the Premier League.
Yeah.
If you guys do not know, to win a title, to compete for a Champions League spot, it's how you deal with the adversity.
The wobbles, yeah.
There are always, it is a 38-game season that lasts over, 9 months?
Right.
And so there are times where your best players are not on the field.
Yep.
And who are the players that step up for you? Are you just dipping in form?
Yeah.
Like, what is the situation? And on the flip side of that, Villa are flying.
Yeah.
They are absolutely flying. There is a reason they are top 5.
Right.
There's a reason they're top 5, and they're sitting 3 points off the top.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
No.
Who would have thought? And so they're up for a game like this.
Yeah.
They're up for a game like this because it's their chance to continue to make statement wins.
Right.
To continue to make statement wins. And so this is a very, very difficult one to predict.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you. It's realizing that the Premier League is a marathon, not a sprint.
Wow.
We've seen a lot of title challengers to the juggernaut that is City. They come and they're flying out the gates. But City is just so consistent. The depth that it requires to win the Premier League.
Yeah.
And you're starting to see title challengers realize we've got to be 3 rotations deep. And I don't think Tottenham is yet. I think they're a fantastic club, play the game beautiful. I don't think they have the depth. And in a wobble like this, these are the kind of games where you start to drop points.
Yeah.
And with that being said, I have this game finishing 2-2.
2-2.
I think they'll get something out of it.
Thriller.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's a really good prediction. But I will disagree with you.
Okay.
I think at home, Tottenham will find a way to get the job done.
Yeah.
And it hurts me to say because, I've been a Villa fan all year long.
Yeah.
I've been just loving the way they play, loving Emery ball.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to go with a 2-1.
Okay.
I think there's just going to be something in the way that Tottenham sets up that's going to be hard to break down.
Yeah.
They're going to be hard to break down, and I think they'll be able to get enough.
Do you think being at home plays a big factor?
I really do. I
Yeah.
really do.
Now, I want to apply some pressure because then we look back at the Newcastle game where you think a young Chelsea side can go into St. James Park, which I would argue has been the most electric stadium in the Premier League this far. Is Tottenham a better ground, or is it just different context in the game?
Different context. I think St. James is a hard place to go.
Right.
And again, we say it all the time. Sometimes it's just vibes.
Sometimes it's vibes.
Sometimes it's vibes. And it's hard for me to see Spurs losing 3 games in the Premier in a row or dropping points in 3 games in a row.
Yeah.
And I really back Villa. I do.
Yeah.
And the consistent viewers know I
Yeah.
do. But just something about this 2-1 Spurs.
It just shouts your name.
Yep.
Fair play. Take us to this next fixture, please.
Everton-Man United. What's the storyline here?
I mean, I still come back and I'm just United. What's going on with this club?
Yeah.
I think if they lose this game, Ten Hag gets the sack.
Wow.
I think that is the weight of this game. They go to Goodison Park. I think it's going to be difficult.
But what's Everton feeling after they get a 10-point deduction and now find themselves in the relegation zone?
I think they're going to have to be up for it. And I think the fan base will be up for it. They're going to feel so hard done when you've got the likes of City with 115 breaches.
But
nothing levied.
But that's the point, is they've set a standard now of point deduction.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at Chelsea, when you're looking at City,
right? Yeah.
They've set the standard for less breaches of a 10-point deduction.
Right.
What's going to be the payout for City and Chelsea, who have all these things being monitored right now?
Yeah.
And so it could be one of those things where they're bigger clubs, so they get away.
Get richer, yeah.
Right? Or it could be a situation where we've set the standard here with Everton, giving them a 10-point deduction. That now they're in the relegation zone, and it could get worse for I'm hearing murmurs. City, there could be a real chance City get relegated.
And so I think next season we will see City on the road at Wrexham
in the championship.
Panorama.
Could you?
Everybody
imagine?
wants to see that criminal club, but yeah, you're right. The standard has been set.
Yep.
Now it's can they go levy that same thing for the likes of the massive clubs?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It will be an interesting storyline to continue to monitor and watch. Let us know what you think about the 10-point deduction and all that situation. But we're here to predict football.
Yeah.
What's going to happen? United.
Yeah.
Everton. 2-1 United.
2-1 United, and it's like
they'll sneak by
they
again
sneak,
somehow.
and they always do. They always sneak by, but this time I'm going to call their bluff.
Wow.
I'm going to call their bluff, and it's going to be 1-1. Everton picks up a point at home against United.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a big prediction.
Response, yeah.
And it will be fun to see if that comes in fruition. But then we got Monday night football to wrap up the week.
Yeah.
A brilliant week back.
Yeah.
Right? A brilliant week back of football. We got Fulham-Wolves at the Cottage.
They love a bit of Monday night football, don't they?
They just keep putting us on it.
Yeah,
huh?
they love it.
Don't they? Very interesting dynamic to this game.
Yeah.
Fulham just feels at a state right now where they might, if they keep losing games, they are going to find themselves in a relegation battle.
Yeah.
Which I may be a little bit biased saying this, but I think they're too good of a team to be in a conversation with the likes of Luton and Sheffield, right? And so this is the type of game you look at and you're sitting there as a fan. I'm a fan. You got to win it.
Yeah.
You have to win it
at home.
They don't have their best player. Neto's out. But Wolves is coming on the end of a win.
Yeah.
2 stoppage time goals to knock off Spurs.
Unbelievable.
It was unbelievable. It's why you love football.
Yeah,
and so,
absolutely.
Good little game here. I'm going to go simple 2-1 Fulham.
2-1 Fulham. Yeah, and for me, it's just, without seeing a ton of Fulham football, it's always the same story in my mind when I go to predict these games of
where are the goals?
Where are the goals? And we continue to say there's no reason to beat a dead horse. And I think Wolves have been a side that's in form. And I see them going on the road.
Despite Neto. Wow.
I see them picking up points at Fulham. 2-1 Wolves.
Wow, we got the flip.
They take all 3. Got the flip.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. There you have it.
Yeah.
Well, that wraps up.
Insane week of football for us. It's going to be a treat.
These are the exact fixtures you want out of an international break. Because you're sitting there international break, you're just like,
oh man,
where's the football, man? I'm traveling at home for Thanksgiving.
Yep.
All I want to do is watch some soccer,
Yep.
and there's nothing. There's nothing for you.
Nothing.
And so, what a week on the flip end of Thanksgiving to be able to just feast.
Yeah, we're gonna feast on the football.
Feast on the football. So we're excited for it. Again, like, comment. We want you to sound off in the comments.
Yep.
But again, thank you guys for watching.
Cheers.